You know, it is really the connections that we're building right now that will allow the Earth to reap the potentials of the Aquarian age. That sounds like a huge order, doesn't it? Particularly when things are so, well, may I just say, fractured right now. Clearly, you don't need me to tell you that the world is fractured. You can see it. And I think those of you here in the States, most of you are from the US, those of you here in the States are going through a very interesting and difficult time. It's one thing to live through seeing your Capitol building sieged, or siege was laying to it, and to see that that could happen here when most people thought it couldn't, or were just too asleep to realize the energies that we're building. And it is a very trying time because even people who are now serving in the Capitol, senators and congressional representatives, some of them are living in a state of fear right now, not because of some imagined thing, but because recently there have been people voted into these seats in the legislative branch that refuse to leave their guns behind when they come to the Capitol. And they say it's their right, and they quote their founding fathers. But you know, even during the Revolutionary War, when people were really scared, and there was a lot of atrocity going on here, the people in Congress, well, it wasn't fully a Congress then, but nonetheless, there were the people leading who were in the process of writing the Constitution and trying to bring a nation about here. Even in those times, they did not take guns into their legislative meetings. So this is kind of a new twist on that. And even in times it was very volatile when Abraham Lincoln was president, the Civil War was going on. But nobody then was taking guns into the houses of the legislative branch. So in a way, this is kind of a new twist. Now, there have always been times when people were divided and polarized, and actually they told themselves that they hated each other. That part is not new. It's such a part of the human dynamic, isn't it? It's not the high side, but it is a kind of an interesting thing when you look at what does it mean to be going into the Aquarian age and all of this kind of chaotic, non-normal energy is arising. Now, certainly, it's been arising all around the world, frankly. It's kind of come to a head recently in the US, because the US is a place that no one ever thought this would happen. And so many of the people who were storming the Capitol told themselves and tell others that they love the Constitution and they're there to protect the Constitution. And even so, they follow a leader who wanted to get rid of the executive branch, wanted to get rid of the judiciary branch, wanted to just kind of be the sole person running the entire US, or at least the government of it. So it's very interesting to see how people's beliefs, or what they think they believe, get applied to a very interesting time. Europe has gone through some difficult elections. Often these things come up around elections, and it's tamer there now because everybody's watching the US. And it's not just for entertainment's sake. There's a lot of worry in the world about what's going to happen to this country. And as many of you who keep up with the news about Wall Street or the stock markets, it's a very interesting time because there's a movement now by many people who are mad at the hedge, they just say the hedge fund gurus or leaders. And of course, if you have a retirement savings account, that's you, actually, you're part of that hedge fund thing. If you manage it yourself, you probably still are, because basically you're still investing in the same funds that hedge fund leaders do. So this is kind of a crazy movement in a way, but it's very effective. And so Wall Street has been dealt some significant blows here lately. And to see the disturbances, again, it's a matter of people thinking they hate the rich. And as I said, some of you who would never consider yourself rich because you have a savings program for your retirement have been lumped into that batch. So it's a very interesting time. And I think Oh, it's particularly horrendous right now in the States, because there has been, Europe has always sort of protected its people more in terms of what happens online. It has stronger restrictions, greater transparency. It's not perfect, we might say, but it's way ahead of what you have here in the States. And so the people who are deciding what it's okay to post or print are the people that run the social media accounts. And I think we can say that that's probably misguided in the best of situations. So what happens is all this power now has gone to those who run social media. And don't think they are absent a cause. It may be hidden or it may be disguised, but there is so much going on that contributes to this tremendous polarization. And again, it's not just happening in the US, but there was a similar thing, in India, I guess, was it last year, where the Facebook, or I guess it was WhatsApp, through social media, rumors were started about certain people, and there were murders, actually. A group of vigilante people heard bad things about this person or that person, and they ended up killing them, and not in a very pretty way. In the same way, there are those who suspect that there are actually people in Congress who would prefer that certain members of your legislators here would be killed. This is extreme thinking. This is extreme thinking.